Hello, hello. I thought it would be helpful for me to record a quickish video tutorial for y'all on how to use the databases, even though you've got the presentation. Seeing it happen in real time, I think would be helpful. And we'll take a little bit of a look-see at the Identity Revolutionaries assignment, the expectations for that. I'm going to show you a couple of really, really helpful databases for this particular assignment, but also that could be used for others as well. So all around, I hope you find this helpful. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the Greenville Tech website. I go through all this in the Google Slides, but helps to see it. Academics and learning, library search. Okay, so I go through in the slides a few different ways to do your searches, and one way is that you can go here and you can put in um, put something in, that you're looking for. But I recommend that as a last resort because, like it says in the slides, you'll get like way more results than you actually need, and it'll actually give you stuff that maybe even isn't available. Like it's not great. Plus the citation gets really tricky to do. So unless you're desperate, I would not recommend this method. Okay, a lot of y'all are going to ignore me and do it anyway because you think it's easier, but I promise you it's not. But what would I know, right? Instead, I would recommend clicking on research databases, and then we've got a few different ways to find what we're looking for. I like using the subject guides if I have a particular kind of subject in mind that I am researching. So the ones we're going to look at today that I think will be particularly helpful for this Identity Revolutionaries assignment is encyclopedias and dictionaries and history. Okay, because a lot of y'all are probably going to talk about historical figures. Some might look at current figures, though they show up in the history databases as well because they're living history. We also have a full A to Z list of every database that we subscribe to here at Tech. So it gives you a little blurb about each one, and we've got all kinds. You'll notice that some say Gale, some say EBSCO, and I'll explain what that means in a minute when we talk about power searches. But basically, Gale and EBSCO are like the Coke and Pepsi of databases in that you get pretty much the same kind of product. They're just different brands. All right. And they own lots and lots of smaller brands. So Gale has a kind of general academic database. So does EBSCO. They both have a history database. They both have science databases. It's like you get the same kind of thing. It's just slightly different style. So, and different brand, right? So, kind of a preference thing. I like Gale better. That's just my personal preference, but you do you. Go where you can find what you need. So, we're going to talk about biography and context. That's going to be a particularly helpful database for this Identity Revolutionaries assignment. But we also have things like Britannica Online Academic Edition, anything you're looking up this semester in terms of like health information. Consumer Health Complete is awesome because it's written at a health, like a consumer level, which we all are. Some of the other health databases we have are written at like nursing student level, which is going to be probably way too, I mean, I certainly wouldn't understand it because I'm not a nursing student. So this though is good quality medical information, but written in a way that the average consumer can understand. So that's pretty fantastic. We've got what else? Ebooks. Ebooks abound. I love ebooks. And what's nice is you can search within an ebook. Like you can do a search and it'll take you to the specific pages in that ebook that have your search terms in it. It's amazing. I love it. Some other ones, Films on Demand. If you learn well from audiovisual sources, Films on Demand is a fantastic resource. I think we got another one recently that we're trying out. Digital theater. This is more like drama. So that's probably not going to be super helpful for us. But Films on Demand, really good for documentary films. And yeah, way better than like trying to go to YouTube and find them because they, obviously there's copyright issues and stuff that you won't run into with Films on Demand. I love it. We've got Global Issues and Context is awesome. This is a Gale database. I love Gale databases because I just like the format that they use for giving you the information. And it's being really slow today because, oh, there it is. So not as fast as Google, but good things come to those who wait. So this, like it says, all things global issues. So I love to go here for anything, controversy related because you'll get, all kinds of interesting viewpoints on it. So like when we get to the make a prediction about future family and relationships, I just put in gentle parenting because that's like the new thing right now. I hear about it all the time on TikTok. It's showing up in my algorithm a lot, so I guess they figure I'm the kind of person who is interested in that. So we didn't get a ton of things. How to practice gentle parenting without losing discipline. Oh, there's TikTok. Why I let TikTok raise my kids. uh, um, oh, that's interesting. Allow a child to experience unfairness in certain situations rather than shield to prepare them for real life. Oh, I need to read that. The collapse of parenting. Okay, that seems a little less optimistic about it. So not a ton of stuff, but 15 news articles and a magazine article. But it'll also, depending on the search, it'll give you like reference articles, all kinds of different things. So anything that says in context as the database name is usually really good. We've got science in context, history in context, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, as you can see, we got lots and lots and lots. Opposing viewpoints in context is gold for all things argumentative, as you can see. News and opinions on current controversial topics. So when we get to our argumentative research papers, we're going to be talking about controversial issues because that's the whole point of rhetoric and composition, which we're doing in this class a lot. So I highly recommend opposing viewpoints in context. So there's all kinds of interesting topics down here, but you can do a search just like we did in the other one. I wonder what they have to say about gentle parenting. Let's see. Gentle parenting. Not quite as many. Oh, it's the same one. Look at that. But then there's also this one and this one. Are you a tiger mother? No, I'm not. There's collapse of parenting again. So some differences, but again, it's a Gale database, and that's why it's coming up with the same articles because they're all owned by that same one. Okay, what else? What else did I want to show you? Science and context. That's a good one. Scientific American, like everything up until 2011 in these archives, it's pretty great. I love Scientific American articles because I'm a nerd. So U.S. history and context is fantastic. World history and context is also fantastic. So I would, depending on the person that you choose for this, um, sorry, that's the announcement I'm about to send you guys for the Identity Revolutionaries assignment. So if you haven't looked at it yet, who is someone from history and or pop culture that you believe has used their personal identity as a platform to change society in some impactful way? And then it kind of tells you, all right, give me any of these things, or a combination. Some people, that's what we call intersectionality. They may be dealing with more than one thing at a time. So you have to get your biographical source about this person from the databases. So that's why we're doing this right now. You do not have to get the audiovisual contribution. So it could be like them giving a speech, or them playing music, or them doing art, or just an image of their art. Or maybe they're not an artist. Maybe they're like they invented some kind of amazing thing. They did the first, heart transplant or whatever. I don't know. You can show us a picture of that. I mean, nothing too graphic. That does not have to come from the databases. All right, that seems fair. You can Google that or go to YouTube for that, or whatever. But the biographical information about this. Now, could you go to like biography.com or whatever? Yes, but the whole point is we're going to be using the databases for assignments this semester, and this is a good practice assignment for it because there's a very good chance. Not it depends on who the person is. I have folks who are like, "Hey, I'd really like to do this TikToker." And I'm like, that sounds so great. See if they're in the biography database. And they're not. They're just a little bit too new. All right. It just things don't move quite as quickly in the databases, and that is a downside. I will admit that. But yeah, you may have to change to somebody else. But there's so many people in this wide world of ours that you could talk about. So you're going to tell us about this person, contributions, accomplishments, impacts, all that kind of stuff. So that's where the research is going to come in. And it's really important that you cite, as in really important, meaning that like if you don't, you could end up with a 50 or worse for plagiarism. So everything, even information that you put in your own words, and the majority of it should be, that's what paraphrasing is, you still need to tell us where you learned that information. And that's really important because it's the distinction, it differentiates between the showing and the telling. Okay. So when you're talking about why you believe this person was so impactful and how you feel like their personal identity was a factor, that is not going to get cited. That's you. All right. So the in-text citations are the dividing line between you and your ideas and what's like coming from your heart and what you learned from an outside source. Paraphrasing shows us what you learned, citation shows us where you learned it. So that's why it says, I'm going to cite all outside information using in-text citations. When in doubt, cite. Like if you're not sure, do I need to cite this? Just go ahead and cite it. Like you can't go wrong. You'll never get punished for oversighting. Let me say that again. You will never get penalized in this course for citing too much. Not citing enough? Oh, yes. Yes, you will. Like bad. It's a big deal. But oversighting, okay, that's just you being extra cautious. And if it is incorrect for some reason, I will gently point that out to you, but you won't lose anything for it. Okay. So I've linked out to the citation quick guide, all the different citation formats you'll need. You may run into a source that does not have an author named. And I'll show you a couple of good reference databases in just a second, where there's a pretty good chance you could run into a source because who writes the dictionary? Who writes the encyclopedia? Who cares? I mean, like people don't put their individual names on those entries, right? It's done by a team of editors. You may have one with a name. The way to find out is to check the works cited entry for the source provided. And then it also links to how to do a works cited entry for a database source, gives you an example, though this is super easy because the source will give you the citation. You just have to copy and paste it in. But also your audiovisual source you're bringing in from wherever you're getting it, you're just going to use that basic online format, same as you'd use for a TED Talk or anything else. The format stays the same. That's what makes it a format. Okay, so I'm going on and on, but it is important. So let's go back to the subject guide. So we've looked at the A to Z. The nice thing about the subject guides is they'll take you straight to those particular databases that we are just looking at, but you don't have to go through the list. So there's global issues, there's opposing viewpoints. This is another pretty good one. It doesn't have everything, but when it does have your topic, it has a lot of good stuff. So it's always worth a look. But we're going to look at encyclopedias and dictionaries. This one right here, Credo Reference, is my jam. I love Credo Reference, and I'm going to be suggesting it to you all semester long. Oh, got to log in. You're going to have to do the same because it's not open to the general public. Why is it taking so long? There it is. Okay, so good things come to those who wait. All right, so let's say I wanted to do mine on, I don't know, Freddie Mercury. I was listening to Queen this morning with my son in the car. He's a fan. He's 4, but he's cool. All right. Boom. Okay. So I did a search for Freddie Mercury. We've got Encyclopedia of World Biography. We've got Encyclopedia of Great Popular Song. Oh, this is just about Bohemian Rhapsody. Chambers Biographical Dictionary. Hutchinson Unabridged. Faber Companion. Hutchinson blah blah blah. So what it does, Lady Gaga for some reason. Maybe you know why that came up. I don't. Yeah. So some of these are going to be really really brief. Another cool thing is that they will, when you get to more in-depth research, I love the more library resources list that they give over here on the side when you're looking things up. Oh my gosh, it's a gold mine of additional resources that they found. Like, hey, if you're interested in this, check out all these articles that we have through the databases. It's such a time saver. So are these things here. It gives you a little like web of like, oh, you want to know more about Queen? Oh, you want to know more about Brian May, the guitarist from Queen? My dad was really into Queen when we were growing up. That's why I know these things. Okay, so let's say you pick this one, which you probably will because it's at the top and it's pretty in depth. So that's good. Check it out. Here is a citation, but look, it's on APA. We don't use APA. If you use the APA one, I'm gonna know you didn't watch this video, and I'm gonna like send you the link and be like, watch the video, silly goose, and you'll get a bad grade. Just click. All you gotta do is click on the MLA button. It's so easy, and then you just copy paste it into your works cited page. Control C, Control V. Oh my gosh. We're living in an age of miracles. So easy. Okay, how am I going to cite this in text? Well, look, it doesn't have an author named, and I know that for sure because I'm looking at the works cited entry. If there was an author named, it would be right here at the beginning. Sassafras, Sally, or whatever. It doesn't though, so we're gonna treat it as a source with no author named. We're gonna use the next best thing, the next most specific thing about the source. None of this stuff. We don't care about the James Craddock is the editor. Ignore James, okay? He probably didn't write this article. He's just like in charge of the larger project. We want this. And the reason is because if you have this in your in-text citation and you have this at the beginning of your works cited entry, it's super easy to cross-reference between the two. So this is going to be even more important when we get to multiple sources in a paper. If we're using things that are like embedded deep within the recesses of the works cited entry, it gets so complicated. Or if you put like Credo reference and oops, you have like 3 Credo reference articles, well then those in-text citations are pretty much useless. So that's why we use this. But if we have an author name, we use the last name because that's what would be at the beginning of the entry. It all actually makes pretty clear sense if you like think about it. All right. So Credo reference is great. I also we've got Britannica and all that jazz, but I also recommend those history and context databases I showed you, depending on where in the world your icon is from. Okay, there's. We got African American history. So if your particular person of interest here is African American, they could show up in here. It's a really good library of resources for that. Great place to get audiovisual stuff too. Biography and context. I haven't showed you that, but it's all biography all the time. We got a read more overview. We've got biographies, magazine articles. We got images, audio, all kinds of good stuff. So that's a good one too. We've got U.S. history. So if they are an international superstar, then you want world history. If they are all American, then you want U.S. history and context. But they're set up the same way, and you just do the search just like I did with the others. Okay, all good, and you should be able to find the works cited entry in the same location at the very bottom of the article. This got longer than I wanted it to get, but I hope you found it helpful. And if you have any questions or you at any point this semester are struggling to find the source material you need, please ask. I love a challenge when it comes to research. So when students tell me I can't find anything, I take that as a personal challenge. I say, hold my jewelry. And then usually by the end of the day, I'll have some things that hey, check these things out that I found. Here's where I found them. They might be useful. Take a peek. You can email yourself articles as well. Anything you come across or like send yourself links, you can highlight stuff. It's all good. They're really useful. I know it's not as easy as Google, but we're not here to do easy things. We're here to do hard things. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. All right. If you need anything, let me know. Thanks for watching. Hasta luego. Happy trails. Bye.